me introduce you to Adam Phillips. Adam is our president of our company. He kind of took over the reins about a couple of years ago, but along with his parents, he have with they've been sharing their success with literally hundreds of families across the country, and it's been an exciting thing for him. I mean, this is basically all he's ever known. His mom started medical billing back whenever, as they would say, medical billing wasn't cool. But she started out on just doing it on a typewriter. But let me go ahead and bring Adam on with me this afternoon. Adam, it's good to have you here this afternoon.
Hey, Eric, thanks. Am I coming through loud and clear?
Absolutely, absolutely. I know that we're both coming to experience a little bit of difficulties with our internet and computers and all that stuff today, but I think both of us are coming across very live. Adam, before we get started, kind of give us a brief little history about how your family got involved in medical billing. Start with your mom and you kind of work your way up to where you are today.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat story. Like you said, I've been basically involved my entire life. I came on board full time about 11 years ago now. I've been helping out, and my plan is to continue the legacy that my parents started those many years ago. So. So you guys are in good hands. What happened is they had a friend of theirs who was running a durable medical equipment company. So they were selling hospital beds and oxygen tanks and different things like that to people. And in passing, he had mentioned to my mother one night that he was having some trouble because he was trying to get paid, sending these insurance claims to Medicare, and he was just not able to spend as much time on the claims as he had because he was running a business, and he didn't have time to focus on that. But then he wasn't able to get paid properly either. So he asked my mother, who my mother was actually doing transcription at the time, and which is she was getting sent these tapes from doctors and actually using a typewriter and typing what the doctors were saying into these tapes and transcribing their words. And that's kind of a business that's gone by the wayside now. But anyway, she said, well, I've never done it before, but if you show me how to do it once, I could probably learn. So he kind of showed her how to stick the claim form, the paper claim form into the typewriter and where all the information should go. And that's basically how the whole thing got started. So she started doing the billing for him. Their business grew very quickly. They started getting other doctors signed up and doing billing for them. And they built the business to the point where they were doing so well, they actually had friends and family members coming to them saying, hey, you guys are doing really well here. Can you teach me how to do what you guys are doing? And so that's when a light bulb kind of went off in my dad's head, and he thought, hey, you know what? We can teach people how to avoid the mistakes that we made in the beginning and, provide a complete package with software and support and everything. So that's how the business got started. Yeah, back in '94.
Yeah, boy, to me, it's just one of those American dreams. And I know that we're right in the middle of all these political and presidential elections and everything else, and everybody talks about the American dream, but talk is talk, but actually seeing it actually happen is something that's pretty incredible. And folks, those that are on here today, you too can have that same type of a dream too, to keep work a family business. We've got several. Matter of fact, I've got several families that we know of that are coming to the training class here in March. So we see a lot of husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, fathers and daughters, and so it's a great type of family business, and we'll certainly talk a little bit more about that today as well. As we get going, though, folks, we also want to remind you that this webinar is just not the Eric and Adam show. We really do want to hear your questions, and so you should know where the question box is in the webinar control panel. Most everybody knows where the little hand part of it is, but just below that, there's a little box there that shows there about questions. So we want you to type in your questions throughout the presentation today. We'll be monitoring that question area. So if we run across a topic here and you want us to answer a particular question, type that in there, and we'll keep it going. But Adam, I say we just jump right on in here. As we like to do, we always like to kind of keep everybody abreast on what's really going on with medical billing and things that are happening here. And a lot of people that have been on our webinars certainly know about ICD-10. But before we even explain that, let me kind of jump in here real quickly and explain what we're talking about here. These are the medical codes. Now, folks, I know a lot of you may be thinking, well, I don't know anything about medical codes or medical coding. How is this going to affect me? And can I do this business without knowing it? First of all, you can, and we'll explain that as we go through it. But in October of 2015, there was a new version of what's called the diagnosis codes that went from ICD-9s to ICD-10s back in October of last year. And if anybody's been keeping up with that, and those that became licensees since then really took advantage of that particular movement of change in this particular field, and really took advantage of it. And a lot of people thought, well, that was my window of opportunity. I've already missed it. The reason we're showing this to you today is that we're letting you know you haven't missed a window of opportunity yet. You can see here, Adam, look at this, March the 1st. This is just, yesterday this article came out. ICD-10 warning, don't get too comfortable in the safe harbor. I've kind of highlighted or underlined a couple of things there, so I'm going to sort of draw the attention right down here. And these are some great things for you to know about, because this will go right along with you not having to try to quote-unquote sell your business model to a doctor. So what happened here is that this transition, so people wondering if they have enough data to access how the ICD-10 transition has affected healthcare providers, there seems to be plenty of healthcare professionals who are looking forward. Specifically, they're looking for signs of what will happen after October 1 now. Look, 2016. Look, Adam, they're calling this ICD-10 2.0. And then, so it goes in here to say that's when the Center of Medicare and Medicare Services will end the specificity safe harbor. Now, let me get to this other part here. And they say if that's not worrisome enough, come October 1-2, this means medical practice and hospitals could save hundreds of new diagnosis codes to handle, or could have hundreds of new diagnosis codes to handle without any specificity wiggle room. So again, what this is telling us in what we do here at American Business Systems, there is a huge window of opportunity because our software is already ready and has been ready for ICD-10. Adam, you want to add any more to this before we go to the next slide here?
Well, I mean, probably the biggest question for people on the webinar is talking about all these coding things is, anybody that's been researching starting starting your own medical revenue business or medical billing business, everything online says you have to know coding. And that's probably the number one question on these people's minds today is, how in the world am I going to do this if I don't know coding? So that's what we're about to explain to you is we actually have the full coding database installed into our software, and it's updated by us. So anytime there's changes or additions or whatever to the codes, those are automatically done by us behind the scenes. So most of the time, the doctors that you are doing business with, they're sending you the codes that they want you to use, and you can very easily look those up within our system. And so you really don't have to know as much about coding as people say you do.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we're just trying to share with you, and again, a lot of people have been on our webinars for quite some time, and they've always asked, well, since ICD-10 has kind of come and gone, is this going to be any good for me? And we're telling you it is a great opportunity, and now you've got a good few months ahead of you to try to get this involved and help these doctors. Adam, we both know doctors personally who are still trying to struggle with their ICD-10 codes because of their, they just don't know, and their systems just can't keep up like our system does. I actually found this too as well. It says here, October 1, 2015 came, and we all survived. Many providers reported a few hiccups and no major problems, and are finding that their claims are being paid. But we're still in this honeymoon period, which means, folks, they're kind of letting some things slide here. That's what this is all talking about. And you talk about a great opportunity because, again, October 2016 begins the next leg of ICD-10. Folks, I don't know about you, Adam, but again, this is one of these things I know that we'll be talking about between now and October. But um,
Yeah,
this
I guess my point that I was trying to make is that the doctors are kind of struggling still with the new codes in the ICD-10, database. So what our system has in it is it also has the ICD-9, the previous version of the coding database. So it's very easy for, even if a doctor accidentally or on purpose sends you one of the old codes, our system is smart enough to tell you what the new code needs to be. So it's very easy for you to figure out what the new ICD-10 codes are in our system without having to be, you don't have to go through 2 years of coding school to do it.
Exactly. And folks, if you're just not really still sure about what we're talking about here, one of the great benefits that you can certainly ask about is us to do a demo for you. We'll be happy to show you what we mean. Sometimes just doing a show and tell helps explain this a lot better. But again, if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to figure out, what's my window of opportunity, why would a doctor ever want me and never ever use me and never need me? This is what we're showing you right now. These are the things that's going to separate you, and you're not going to go in there and go try to sell your business. Adam, I think if we can try to communicate this the best we can, the doctors are needing help. And just like if we need help physically, we know that the doctor doesn't have to sell us to go see him or her. That's the same type of reciprocity that we're trying to build here with the doctors needing help, and we certainly have that as a provider.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to now jump in here about how to start your business without having to sell. And I put this picture up here because I think this is what everybody thinks of right off the bat of gosh, I'm going to have to take this package, this ABS package thing here, and I have to go sell this to the doctors.
You want to talk about salesmen? My dad has sold every item that you could possibly think of. He's sold waterless cookware. He's sold vacuum cleaners. So he knows that style and that method, and he knows that style and that method does not work with doctors. It is not about just waltzing into an office and saying, hey, I do medical billing. I just started a medical billing company. Do you need help with your medical billing? Because they're immediately going to say no.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we're going to show you as best we can today is, first of all, we want to let you know it's us here helping you to learn how to develop certain things. And as I bring these up here, what we're going to do is show you it's about developing. It's not about selling. It's developing relationships. And Adam, we've all heard that everybody likes to buy from someone they like and they know. That's what we're developing here, and that's part of what we do here on these weekly webinars. We want people to build a relationship with us, not just for us to try to sell you something, but we want you to know that we're real people. Adams has a family, I have a family, we're all here, but we're just trying to build a developing relationship with one another that we can work together. Adam, you want to add any more about that, about the importance of just building relationship and that this business is really a relationship business?
Yeah, it all boils down to doctors don't want to do business with people they don't know, like, and trust. And so that is the basis of our training and our support that we provide you is we show you how to educate the doctors, first of all, on the need for outsourcing, because a lot of them, they just don't realize what their current costs are and what a lot of their current issues are until you do an analysis and take a look at the numbers, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But so it starts with just, educating them on what their costs are, because most of the time they're paying a heck of a lot more money and spending a lot more time trying to manage their billing and other things in their offices. And so that's what we help them come to realize.
Yeah, and I think, Adam, and we all get the question that does your service work? We probably get that question asked just as many as any other questions that we do. How do I know that your services and how ABS will work for a doctor? I think what we've got to first of all is deal with this first thing right here. we've got to understand that a doctor is just not going to turn over their checkbook over to anybody who they don't trust. I mean, why don't you speak to that real quickly about really what we're dealing with? It's not necessarily dealing with just the service and the software. It's this word right there.
Yeah. So how do you get that trust? Well, it starts with getting a referral from someone in the industry or maybe someone who works with doctors. And so we go into a lot of detail on that in our training on how to develop strategic partnerships with people who may not necessarily be in healthcare, but they may work with doctors like CPAs, attorneys, IT companies, real estate people who sell, real estate to doctors. Those are all really good strategic partnerships. And so we show you how to go out and join different networking organizations so that you can find different people and develop relationships. There's that word relationships with these people so that they can, at some point in your relationship say, you know what, I was doing business with a doctor the other day and he mentioned to me that, his biller just quit and he didn't know what to do. Maybe you guys should go do coffee. It starts with that. That's how you build that trust.
Yeah, and it builds that trust. It leads to service, and then and now we're going to be talking about how ABS will help develop you, so that you have all these things, so that you can build this back up the way that we're looking at right here. So first of all, I know that Adam, I know you really like to follow Jeffrey Gitomer. Why don't you kind of explain, this here, and I'll just let you kind of read through this whole thing here about what, the difference between, this whole salesman approach to then, what he teaches here in these little books that he has.
Yeah, there's another way that he phrases this idea, and it's people don't like to be sold, but they love to buy. So it's kind of the same concept. It's how you end up developing relationships with people who are going to eventually at some point give you money, buy your product. I mean, ultimately that's what's happening. But how you do that is not by just, regurgitating a bunch of facts and figures and platitudes about how good your company is and how awesome you are and stuff like that. It starts with being a valuable resource and actually providing them information and education that they can use whether or not they do business with you. So that's why we say it starts with educating them on their current situation and their current workflow and helping do a practice analysis for them to help them see what their current costs are. That's how it starts. And we also have other marketing materials that we have developed that are good information for doctors, whether or not they do business with you. So, for example, we have a book that was written by our founder on cash crunch to cash flow is what it's called. And you can actually look that book up on Amazon, or we can send you an ebook version of it if you'd like. But it's essentially written to inform doctors and other business owners on the need to examine every single bit of your revenue cycle and make sure that you're doing it the right way, and maybe consider the fact that having a specialist outside of your office doing some of this stuff might make more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, one of the things that we know also is that what is important to you, it's your top priority is revenue. We know that, and we know that when you get into any type of business, whether it's ABS, whether it is you can go open up a sandwich shop, you've invested not only your money, but you're going to be investing your time. And from what we know that we just don't want you to spend the funding fee with us for $25,000 and not get any return. We know that, so we want to kind of step you through of educating you, providing you the resources through this webinar today, because whenever it gets down to it, the questions that we're asking, or you should be asking, where does your revenue come from? How do you get paid, and who's paying you? I know, Adam, I've had a lot of people even ask me, well, how do I get paid from ABS once I start doing from a doctor?
Yeah.
Folks, you never get paid from ABS. You're going to be getting paid from the doctors. That's who you're going to be getting paid from. That's because you're dealing directly with these doctors. However, now the question becomes to you, then how do you get those doctors? And that's what we're going to be kind of working with you on today. And the first thing it does, it comes down from your doctors come from you as you are being trained as a certified medical revenue manager. Adam, why don't you talk about what it means whenever they get through training now that they actually are a certified medical revenue manager?
Yeah, and by the way, I guess we're doing really well on this webinar. We've only received one question so far, so I'll get to Genevieve's question here in just a moment.
Sure.
But yeah, so a lot of people want to know that they've got some type of certification when they finish our training program, and that's what we provide. So at the end of our 5-day class, we actually certify you as a certified medical revenue manager, and you get a certificate. And so you are actually you actually are able to call yourself a CMRM. That is a certification that we have created. And so what that means is it means that you're able to promote yourself and let people know that you have been certified in medical revenue management. And honestly, in all honesty, when people finish our 5-day class, believe it or not, they know more than 80% of the office managers out there. They already know more than them. And I know that sounds hard to believe, but when you go through the training, you'll know what I'm talking about. So you're able to speak more intelligently about the services and about the industry just by going through our 5-day class. Now, are you going to learn everything there is to learn in the entire industry in 5 days? No, absolutely not. So that's why we have our private support website that we'll talk about, where you can go and continue your education for the life of your business. You never have to pay us anything extra to access that site or access those materials. So for the life of your business, you can take many different training tracks on our private support website to continue your education on, not only technical things, industry related things, but also marketing issues as well.
So do you want to tackle Genevieve's question real quickly before we move on?
Yeah, so Genevieve is asking, how intrusive is the practice analysis in the daily operations of a doctor's office? How do I counter the argument that the evaluation is disruptive? That is a very good question. I can tell you that the practice analysis is very easy because it's only about 20 or 30 questions. So we teach you how to do the practice analysis in the training class. And really, most of the time, when you're sitting down with an office manager to do the practice analysis, they're already admitting that there's some type of issue, and that's why they're meeting with you. So they're willing at that point to take 10, 15, 20 minutes out of their day to do that analysis. So it doesn't take very long. It takes about 15, 20 minutes, and that's it. But that's a good question. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, Genevieve, I'm gonna add one more little layer to that on what Adam just said. Think of it as you've just gone to the doctor, and because you've gone to the doctor because you got a pain or there's something wrong with you. You put yourself in that position. Do you feel as though it's intrusive for the doctor to ask you questions to discover what's wrong with you? When you develop that type of relationship and trust with that doctor early on, some of the key elements that we're going to be sharing with you today, once you've got that doctor there and they have agreed for you to do that practice analysis, they know at that point that you're going to be asking them maybe sometimes the tough questions, and it won't seem as intrusive. And so if you can kind of think of it that you're a money doctor, think of it that way. Think of it that you're trying to discover the problems with the doctor, and you're going to match your solutions to that doctor's problems, and that's what it's going to do. It all starts here, right here at the beginning of training, and obviously we just spoke about the training that's coming up here in just a couple of weeks. But Adam, training has taken on a really, since I've been here 8 years now, it's really taken on a completely different look and feel, and I think it's a lot more, I wouldn't say professional, it was professional back then, but it's really just taken on a new look and feel. Why don't you explain a little bit what we do, differently than pretty much anybody else that does any type of training, because we're actually using licensees to teach the class.
Yeah. So my dad is very in tune with the fact that we need to stay on top of changes in the industry, and we also need to pay attention to, any particular new services that may come about that may be very useful for getting your foot in the door, and also, something that doctors really do need. So the package, the business package, and the business opportunity itself has been greatly enhanced over the past 10 years. We've added lifetime unlimited free support. We've added new products and services, new technologies, and licensees are always grandfathered in on all of that as well. We're never trying to go back and upsell anybody or resell anybody anything. So that's another benefit of being a licensee of our company. We're not trying to we're not going to try to bilk you of any more money, on the back end, years down the road. So yeah, the training itself is, the 5-day class, and it focuses very heavily on showing you the quickest path to generating revenue. That is what's important, is helping you get that first client signed as quickly as possible. And so the focus of the class is very heavy on the business development, all the marketing methods that we have kind of perfected over the years, how each of the services work, how they're marketed, what kind of money you can make on each one. It does have a small session on the technical side. There's a picture of you demonstrating the EHR and iClaim system right there. And so we do let people get their hands on the system, but they see how easy it is to use, how user friendly it is. And they're like, okay, I get it. Let's move on to the making the money part. How do we make money? So that's
Right.
what the live class is all about. Yeah.
Yeah, so folks, I mean, when you walk out of that class, and not only are you walking out of the class with the knowledge base that you're going to grab, but you're going to walk out of there with, again, being certified as a medical revenue manager, which, folks, if you think about it, it separates you from being just a regular medical billing company. And as Adam had says, we've got time for you to have hands-on training and time on the system. So day one, Monday, first day, Monday, when you get here, first thing is we're going to put you right in front of a laptop. We're going to show you actually how to process a claim. And then on the next day, we actually go through another generation of showing the electronic medical records platform. I think we've got a question here as I was kind of going through it. And let me see if I can find it here. Again, I've skipped a few questions here because I want to get down to this one. This is from John. He's asking, where do you see the business going in the future, as many providers are now using EMRs, electronic medical records, that have practice management functionality, and it takes care of all reports and basically the revenue cycle? John, that's what our whole entire cycle, our platform does. It has a practice management, which is the billing, the scheduling, the patient demographics. We have a complete EHR system, EMR system, electronic medical record system. That's involved in it. So you're asking me, where do we see the future going? Adam, I think we were one of the first ones to actually have these components all integrated before a lot of doctors have them.
Yeah, and to go on to that, what you're saying, to add on to what you're saying about the EMRs and the billing platform that we have, full-blown practice management functionality. Yeah, it has all of that that you're mentioning, John. But our point is that, whether a doctor uses our system or their current system, it really doesn't matter. The fact that we're doing the billing for them outside the office, most of the time, that makes more sense for a particular practice. Just having that one particular function be performed outside of the office. So in other words, the front office is still able to access the billing, the practice management side, so that they can do instant eligibility checking, with insurance. They can look up patients, schedule appointments. The doctors can access the financials of the system, and the doctors are also using our EMRX product with like an iPad or a tablet in the exam room. So they're able to do everything else that they have to do on a regular basis. It's just that they've got someone outside the office focused like a laser on the billing and making sure that the claims are filed in a timely manner and followed up on in a timely manner. And I want to comment on that picture real quick right there. That is not a posed picture. How many CEOs do you know that are actually at the training class helping you on the computer with the system? I don't know of any other CEOs that would do that, and that's him. That's my dad. He loves helping people. He's very heavily involved in the live training, so I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody that ever comes to the class absolutely enjoys it because, folks, you get to you hear Patrick and Adam and me and some of the other folks here on these weekly webinars, but we're there. We're Adam, you're there first day. You're kind of getting it kicked off. I mean, you're talking about your dad being the CEO. I mean, the president of the company's there too, helping answer questions. Adam's there throughout the week as well. So we're very much, we say we have hands-on training. We're very hands-on to make sure that training goes well too as well.
Yep.
The other part of the class that you're going through and that you're going to be going through is classroom exercises. And this is really, as you can kind of see here, we kind of blew this one up pretty big, that you can see really what's going on. It's taking how much to set up a practice, what there's going to be charged for that particular practice. So with the licensee that we have, Cynthia Anderson, that comes in who teaches and trains us, these examples have actually come from real life examples. So these aren't theory, these aren't anything else but true life examples of how you would go about setting up a clinic and a doctor and charging them properly.
Yeah, and if you're looking at those numbers like I am and trying to figure out what in the world are they trying to crunch right there, that's basically they're coming up with what their costs will be overhead versus the gross income that they're going to be bringing in for a certain number of clients that they have. But basically, we're going to be helping you in every scenario. We're going to make sure that you are pricing yourself competitively in the market. We're going to make sure that you are offering the services that make the most sense for every doctor that you talk with. So we're very heavily involved in the financial part as far as helping you figure out the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically working as a team, again, we have partners that come in all the time, whether it's business partners, whether it's against husband and wives. We have you work together as a team because some strengths are a little bit more. Some people say, hey, I can do the marketing side a little bit better than I can do the other side, which is the day in and day out part of it. So we encourage business partners to come, and husband and wives and fathers and daughters, like I said, to come and to learn how to work again as a team. Now, as we kind of move on here, because as we don't want to run out of time today, but one of the things that Adam has already alluded to is about this whole part of business networking. And folks, this is not, I think I had someone ask me here recently, are you talking about multi-level marketing? No, that's not what this is. This is business networking. And Adam, again, has already mentioned to us on the webinar, it's like you marketing or building alliances with other professionals that are already doing business with doctors already. That helps you avoid having to feel like you're going to cold call anybody. If I knew Adam was out there and he was servicing a doctor, whether he was cleaning that doctor's office, whether he was doing something with, Adam could be a pharmaceutical rep for that doctor. But if I develop a business relationship outside of that, Adam could give me the introduction to that doctor and bypassing that front office altogether. Adam, you want to kind of go a little bit more about what we do during this time, because not only does Cynthia talk about this, but your dad is heavily involved in this part of the teaching of the business networking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add. I just previously was talking about how the networking, teaching works, and I kind of want to address this question here from David. He's saying, okay, well, my main question is, what are the costs to get started? No, I'm sorry, wait, hang on. Yes, what are the costs to get started with your program, and do you offer resources to help locate doctors other than just joining local communities and networking? So to answer your question, David, the cost of this business is a one-time fee that you have to pay up front before you come to the training and get all your materials. It's $24,990. That price has gone up over the past 10 years quite a bit, and I'm not certain that it won't go up again here soon because we are continuing to add to the value of the package. So, but anyway, the current price is $24,990, and we have about a dozen or so different marketing methods outside of networking. We're going to talk about a few others here in a moment. That we teach in the training, over a dozen or so. And these are methods that have been tested over and over again by our licensees, Patrick, the people that do the training for us, which also happen to be licensees. So we're not going to be teaching you something that that we aren't sure if it works or not. These are proven methods that we know get good responses.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to teach you during that training class, as Adam was saying, why this particular method does work so well. Obviously, we can't teach all that right now in this webinar, but we're going to actually show you the best places to network. And kind of going with what David's saying, without joining local communities, you don't have to actually join any particular local community. It's just getting out there and letting people know what you're doing. There are some networking groups that are already in your area that are meeting. There are other professionals out there that are already trying to develop their business as well. So there's a lot of professional groups that out there. And then how, as Adam says, this is not a theory that we're teaching here. This is actually proof of what's actually happening and what people are actually doing to get out there. So this whole network business marketing part of it is huge for you to understand, and that's where we go through some of the in that week, that training week, where we're actually working with you as teams, the exercises that go along with that, so that when you walk out of there, you'll know exactly what to say and what to do. And just getting this, working with networking groups is so much easier than trying to go directly to the doctor so many different times. But someone also, I think, in one of these questions is asking about sales reps. Adam, why don't you talk a little bit about these sales reps and what we do and teach here, and I'll see if I can't try to hunt down this question here that talks about sales reps.
Yeah, the second, I'm looking at one right here from Joseph that says, how about using sales reps and finding the right one? So I'm glad that was the next slide.
Good.
Yeah, so there are going to be people who start this program and go through the training, and a lot of people actually have full-time jobs that they can't just quit right away, and they've got good money coming in. And the question now is, how can I build this business on the side as I'm working my other job that I eventually want to quit, but I can't right now?
Right.
So one of the ways to do that is by utilizing our sales rep program. And basically, we have all of the tools and materials necessary to show you how to find the right people that are going to be a good fit for your company to go out and market your services. So we actually show you how to craft different ads that you can place in different places, different website places. And we have all of the sample interview scripts that you can use to interview sales reps. We have all the sample commission structures and agreements. And we can help you kind of work out how to find the right person for you. So, it is ultimately up to you to make that decision on who you are going to hire. But once you do that, we also have all of the materials that you can use to train that person, get them up to speed on the different products and services and the pricing and all that kind of stuff. We also have PowerPoint presentations that they can use on a tablet or whatever to do a presentation for a doctor or an office manager. So we can get you going on sales reps very quickly. And that's been a very efficient way for some of our licensees to get their name out there that much quicker. That also, of course, is going to work well for people who just aren't comfortable, going out and marketing themselves. This works well for them as well. So hopefully that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam, I think we've all known that people, especially before they get to the training, they're on the webinars and they get to talk with us, and they say, man, I'm so glad that I could actually, you're going to teach me how to hire sales reps and go out there, because I don't feel very comfortable. But I'm telling you, once you get through the training, we've had a lot of people go, you know what, I think I can do this on my own. And we've had folks who still do it part-time without using a sales rep. So folks, you can do it either way. You can hire sales reps. We'll show you how to do that. We'll show you how to build what's called power partners, where it may be kind of a pseudo type of sales rep for you, or again, just doing it on your own. So either way you want to take this, certainly you can be able to do that. And then finally, as Adam said, how to pay these folks. I mean, because obviously they brought you the business. You make sure that they're rewarded too as well, because salespeople live and die by what they sell out there. So you certainly want to be able to do that. And it's also about what we call consultative marketing. And this is where we're talking about this whole practice analysis. And this is where we zero in on really what's going on with that doctor's office. I've got a couple of the sample questions here. And as Adam had said earlier, is that that practice analysis is a few pages long, a couple of pages long, 20 to 30 questions at the most. But it's going to get into some of the questions like this, because these are important questions. And we'll explain this here real quickly. Just on this first question, is your current system that the doctor is currently using, the billing system and their practice management system, and even their EHR system, is it server-based or web-based? And a lot of people think, well, server-based, the doctors has to pay for that computer software one time, and then he's one and done, so to say. But that's not the case, because there's so much security that has to go along with that in and of itself can be an overwhelming cost for that doctor. And then just the maintenance of the updates and the upgrades. So that kind of helps us understand right there at the very beginning, when we go through and start doing this practice analysis, these are some of the questions that's being asked. Obviously, one of the questions that needs to be asked is how many claims are they doing a month? This is going to help you gauge what you're going to be paying, or what the doctor's going to pay you as you go along. And then one of the questions that is obviously needs to be asked is, what are they currently spending on billing? And Adam, I think a lot of doctors really don't know that because after this question gets down into the nitty-gritty of really because a lot of doctors go, oh, I'm just paying 2% on billing. But how many times have we seen these practice analysis come back where it's 3 times as much as they would pay an outside billing company, like an ABS licensee?
Yeah, we've seen drastic numbers in some of these practice analyses that we've done. Yeah.
And so part of this, as you can see here, it's all about consultative marketing. We haven't sold anything to the doctor yet, and we're not going to sell anything to the doctor until, again, when we get down to this part. And I'm telling you, we could probably take an entire webinar on this part of it, and that is what we call demonstration marketing. Adam, you want to kind of explain what we're doing here, and I'll kind of flip-flop between this screen and the next screen as you're kind of talking about what we do through these demos.
Yeah, we're going to have to quickly go through these slides because we got a lot of questions coming in.
Okay.
Essentially, once the practice analysis is done, we actually take over and do a full demonstration of the billing and EHR platform on your behalf. So you can tell the doctor that you're going to get with your demo team, and that's us, and we will actually do the demonstration of the system and show them the billing platform, the EHR platform, the patient portal, anything that they want to see. We answer all their technical questions for you. And also, the really cool thing is, by the time the demo is done, we have already helped you put together your proposal and your agreement to hand that over at the end of the demo. So we are very heavily involved every step of the way in getting the doctors to sign the contract with you.
Absolutely. As Adam said, we are kind of running up against the clock here, and we're going to pause here in just a second right here at the end and take some of your questions here. But let's just kind of finish up here real quickly on some of these, and then we'll get to all of your questions here. Folks, you can actually, if you want to, there's so many different types of trade shows that you can go to, and everybody's been to a trade show once or twice. If you want folks to come to you, that you can do. And so we have both of these, you can see here, these huge trade show booths already that you can just, for you to use here at ABS. I mean, these things are being used just about every week all over the country. We ship them out, they get shipped back in, easily set up. If you want to do a trade show somewhere and you want to set up a little booth and let people come talk to you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that for doctors. I mean, because you'll be surprised how someone there at that trade show is going to know a doctor to say, I need to put you in touch with. Adam's also already mentioned about the book on Cash Crunch to Cash Flow. So it's about educational marketing. Again, this book you're going to get as part of your business package to get out the door to the doctors, and we're going to teach you how to use that in the training class. Patrick is actually working on a new book, but Adam has, again, alluded to this. If you would like to get a copy of this book in an e-format, simply all those that are on the call today, just simply request the e-version of this book from your business coach that you've been working with. We'll be happy to send this out to you so you can kind of start getting a preview of it as well. And there are other educational marketing slides that we already have built here. We're actually adding more to this so that, again, if you want to, you can do that as well. Adam, you want to talk real quickly about how the marketing, both these pieces here, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up, and then we'll start taking some of these questions.
Yeah, as part of your business package, you get several thousand marketing pieces, postcards, flyers, books, DVDs, like I mentioned. But we actually have a tool that you can use. It's called AutoCard. So we actually have the campaigns, these postcards that you see here, we already have them set up in a campaign. And this is a web-based tool that you can use where you basically set it and forget it. You know, you can put a doctor's name and address into the system, and then they will automatically get some type of touch from you, like a postcard, for example. And you can set that to be every couple of weeks, every couple of months, however you want to set it up. But it's an automated marketing tool that stays in touch with your clients. So that's very, very helpful for, after you've already done the demo and giving them the agreement and everything, because they're not always ready to sign, immediately. They do need some time to think about it. So this is a great way to stay top of mind by using this tool that we have.
And then lastly, folks, we're going to just talk to you real briefly about the support. We've done a complete webinar on our support and what we have here for support. But not only do we have support here corporately, but again, when you become part of the ABS community, your support may be coming from another ABS licensee as a networking tool inside of ABS already. So, folks, there is just a tremendous amount of support, whether it's on the front end of the technical end of it, the billing part of it, the ends day in and day out and types of support, whatever you might need, it's there, and it's also online too as well. And we can't end this without talking about the 100% money back guarantee. Why don't you take this, Adam, and then I'll be kind of gearing up here, ready to start taking some questions, and we'll start wrapping this webinar up this afternoon.
Sure. It's simple. Go through our training, the 5-day class, and if there's anything during that class that just, makes you feel like the business is not for you, for whatever reason, we'll give you your money back at the end of the class on Friday. So you have the entire class that you can go through and analyze every single bit of it, every single bit of the business model. And that's how much we believe in our live training and the efficiency of it, because I think we've done maybe 4 refunds in the past 10 years. And those are people who said, you know what, I don't feel like it's for me. And that's fine, because we want people to feel excited about it. We want people to be committed to it 110%. And so that's why we have that. We have that in writing in our agreement.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to see a copy of that, just give us a shout either via email or text, or give us a phone call. We'll get you a copy of that, and then we'll actually get that and show that to you. I'm going to put the date up here showing that when our next training class is about to come up. And as we do that, folks, you can see here, you can give us a call here at 866-565-8413. But Adam, I say let's just try to start back up as close to the top as we can and start asking some of these questions. I've got one keyed up already here, and this was from Mark. And his question is there a likelihood that I will at least make my investment? I'm highly interested in your company. You want to answer that one?
Well, I've already talked to Mark about that, so maybe he would like to hear it from somebody else.
Okay. Absolutely. Well, let me just put it this way, Mark. If you get one doctor is going to generate about $30,000 to $35,000 a year in revenue for you. If you just had one doctor within your first year, you're going to get your return on your investment back at least with that 1 year. And if that's all the marketing you do, at least you know that you got your investment back there. So you can certainly at least know about that.
So let me make sure everyone caught that. One client, you can see an ROI, a return on your investment, in about a year with just one client. But most licensees sign up, what would you say, Eric? Maybe 4 or 6 doctors per year?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So folks, you can certainly get that going. Let's see. Let's just go down. Let's see. I think we already answered that one from John, so we'll do that one. And we got Joseph's about the sales reps. I'm down back to Genevieve. You want to answer that? Get that one?
Yeah, she says, can you help licensees do a market analysis within any particular area or determine potential business opportunities within an area? Yes, we can help you with that. And we actually have on our website a place where you can go to find doctors in your area. So if you go to absystems.com, and I forget what the link is called, but it's absystems.com, and then you can go to find doctors in my area, type in your zip code, or any zip code you want for that matter, because there are no restrictions in where you market. You can start to get a better picture as to who you might be able to promote to in your area. So hopefully that helps.
Yep.
Let's see what else here.
Rhonda, I got Rhonda's there. So and I'll take one, and you just take the next one right after that. So we'll just kind of go back and forth like that. So Rhonda, you asked the question: what if a provider is happy with their current EHR? Does the practice management portion of ABS link to other EHRs? The answer to that is yes. So if a doctor's already settled in on their EHR and they like what their EHR is doing, there is what's called an HL7 interface. So as long as that other EHR has that HL7 interface, that interconnection can be made there. So there won't be any problem with that. But a lot of times you'll find out, Rhonda, after they've seen the EHR on our side and know that it's built in internally, the doctors start asking you a lot of questions saying, how can I just stay with yours? So, okay, Adam, you got the next question there.
Okay, I'll get the next two. Yvette is saying, is practice analysis in an electronic form that can be shared with potential clients? The answer is yes. Joe asks, due to rising costs of insurance, most doctors are becoming part of groups and no longer independent. How is this being addressed for the future? That's a great question, and we have been monitoring that. And there is a trend where some doctors are going and working for hospitals, and they hate it. They don't want to do it. They want to know that there are other options. So what our licensees are trying to do is get to do the practice analysis and show them that there's another way. Show them that they can remain independent without having to go become a part of a group. We've also seen a trend where doctors are starting to go the other way. They're leaving hospitals and going back into private practice because they were treated like an employee and they didn't like that. So we still feel that there is a window of opportunity, and there are plenty of private practitioners available for our licensees, and there's still a big market at this moment. You know, no one has a crystal ball and can see 20 years down the road, but at this moment, it appears that there's going to be enough independent, practices to be, quite profitable for licensees for years to come.
Yeah, matter of fact, I was told just yesterday from someone that said she has seen doctors go into private practice, get involved with a group, get out of that group, go back into private practice, go back into a group, come back out. There's just this, so Joe, is kind of fluid if you would see that. Genevieve, you're asking the question about personal medical records. Personal record medicals are protected by privacy regulations. Do doctors tend to have issues with releasing their patient privacy information to licensees, and are licensees required to sign confidentiality agreements? Genevieve, the first thing you do before you even start to engage a doctor, even in the practice analysis, one of the first things you're going to do is do what's called a business associates agreement. That is your confidentiality agreement. So you'll have that right off the bat. That's actually on our licensee support site. So when you become a licensee, you just download that and you go to town and you do what you need to do there. Mark, you asked the question about are there incentives for docs to refer other docs? Absolutely. If you've got one doctor that is referring doctors to you, one of the things that we teach in our training class is how to pay for referrals. So absolutely, you can certainly see that, and that's done quite often.
Rhonda is asking, is there any additional charge to use the materials to hire and train salespeople? No, Rhonda, that is actually included with your license fee, and that's available. All the materials are available for free to you to use on our private support website. Mark is asking, do you show us how to best competitively compensate a sales rep? Yes, we do cover that as well. We've got hours and hours and hours of webinars on that particular topic on our support website as well on how to do that.
Yeah.
Ruben is saying, does a person need 25 grand to attend the training? You need 24,990. Ruben, to attend the training. So yes, essentially, you do have to pay that license fee in full before you come to the class, and of course, fill out the training and support agreement that we have.
All right, Joe, you're asking, can the system work with eye doctors, dentists, etc., outside of just medical doctors? The answer to this, let me give it to you the best way. This is medical billing, not dentistry billing. So the codes for dentists are separate from what you would find with medical doctors. However, sometimes with eye doctors, depending if they're an ophthalmologist or not, they're going to be using the same codes as medical doctors. So hopefully that helps answer your question. But if you need to do some dentistry billing, that's a completely different platform, and we can kind of help guide you with that. But most of the time, you should be able to find enough doctors just to do the medical billing part of it. Rhonda again asked the question, what are the additional charges for the on top of the percentage of the billing services? Any extra charges for the system are actually paid by the doctors themselves. So again, whenever we say it's $24,990, that's all the money that should ever come out of your pocket. And those fees and if there are any additional charges are certainly discussed there in the training class.
David is saying, how do I enroll in the training? Well, you just fill out our agreement and send in your funding. No, but if you give us a call, we can. You should be receiving emails from a business coach here at ABS, David. So if you don't see any of those emails from one of our business coaches here, just call the main number and we can put you in touch with somebody who can kind of walk you through the process of how to get that going. Let's see. Yvette is saying, remind me of the cost of having a second person to attend the training. Okay, good question. So one person is allowed at the training for free, and then you can bring an additional person for $995 as long as we've got room. The training classes do fill up, so you need to let us know ASAP if that's the case, you want to bring somebody with you.
All right, we've got just a couple more questions, and we'll try to get through these. Folks, thank you for staying on a little bit longer with us. It's a little bit after 4 already, but we're here to help answer your questions. Mark, you asked the question, do I need to get some kind of state certification or license from the state that I live in? There's no requirements for that, so you don't have to worry about that. Yvette, you're asking basically maybe do you have to have a legal team in the event we are presented with questions pertaining to coding regulations? We don't necessarily have a legal team for that, but we do have people that are professional coders. If there is something that you need with that, and if in the event that a doctor does need an attorney because they've been audited by anything, we can certainly point you in the directions of some of the attorneys that we do know of that can handle that. Adam, grab those last two. I think we should be okay.
Which one are we on?
Rhonda's, I think she's asking the one about I want to know what the providers would pay for the software.
Okay.
Rhonda, I was going to say, if you want to just get with your business coach on that, we can step you through those costs there.
Yeah, but they don't actually see a separate software fee. It's built into the percentage that you charge them, which is really nice because they don't get confused. They just know that they're going to be paying you, let's say, for example, 6% for their billing, and that is basically covering that's the software fee that's there. So if you want to know specifically what the breakdown is, just contact your business coach and we can cover that with you. John is asking, you talked about doing business locally. Could it be done with distant providers? Yes, absolutely. The system is not a franchise. This is not a franchise, so there are no restricted territories. So not only can you market to any doctor in the U.S., But since our system is fully cloud-based, there's like no paper transmitted anymore. It's all electronic. So it's very easy to have clients that are on the other side of the country, no problem, as long as everybody's got an internet connection, which hopefully everyone does.
Yep. All right, this last question of the afternoon, and this is actually going to answer both Rhonda's question and Yvette's question. And it's about training workshops after March or the training workshop dates for May. So the answer is yes, we have that for after March. It is May the 2nd through the 6th. So if you're looking at maybe trying to get to that May training, those are the dates there. Adam, thank you. Hey, thanks for sticking on a little bit longer here and helping me kind of wrap up with some of these questions here.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome. Everybody have a great afternoon. Again, give us a call here. Get with your business coach if there's any questions that we did not get to answer for you. And we look forward to having you on next Wednesday's webinar. Thanks again, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.